प्रभात महाराज की जय। ओम कृष्णपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज की नंद गौड़ी वैष्णव वृंद की आचार्य दास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की हृदय गो प्रेमानंदे। All glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled devotees, all glories assembled. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 5, Narada's instructions on Srimad Bhagavatam. Today's verses 29, 30 and 31. We'll read 29 first. Tasyevam me anuruktasya prashidasya hadainasam shraddadhanasya balasya dandasya anujarasya cha. Tasyevam me anuruktasya prashidasya hadainasam shraddadhanasya balasya dandasya anujarasya cha. Tasyevam me anuraktasya prashidasya hadainasam shraddadhanasya balasya dandasya anujarasya cha. Sarajamati.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tasyevam me anuraktasya prasiddhasya hadainasa shaddadhanasya balasya dandasya anujarasya ja. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yashimadaji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। तस्यैवं मेऽनुरक्तस्य प्रसृतस्य हतेन सा श्रद्दधानस्य बालस्य दान्दस्यानुचरस्य च। हरे कृष्ण।
Krishna. Narindamaji.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
Krishna.
तस्यैवं मे अनुरक्तस्य प्रसृतस्य हतेन सह श्रद्धधानस्य बालस्य दन्तस्यानुचरस्य च। May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Tasya, his, evam, thus, may, mine, anuraktasya, attached to them, prashritasya, obediently, hata, freed from, enasya, enasaha, sins, shraddhadanasya, of the faithful, balasya, of the boy, dantasya, subjugated, anucharasya, strictly following the instructions, cha, and. Translation: I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai. These are the necessary qualifications of a prospective candidate who can expect to be elevated to the position of a pure, unadulterated devotee. Such a candidate must always seek the association of pure devotees. One should not be misled by a pseudo-devotee. He himself must be plain and gentle to receive the instructions of such a pure devotee. A pure devotee is a completely surrendered soul unto the personality of Godhead. He knows the personality of Godhead as the supreme proprietor and all others as his servitors. And by the association of pure devotees only, one can get rid of all sins accumulated by mundane association. A neophyte devotee must faithfully serve the pure devotee, and he should be very much obedient and strictly follow the instructions. These are the signs of a devotee who is determined to achieve success even in the existing duration of life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Text 30. Jnanam guhyatamam yattat sakshal bhagavadodidam anvavochan गमिष्यन्तां कृपया दीनवत्सलाः ज्ञानं गुह्यतमं यत्तत् साक्षात् भगवतोदितम् अन्ववोचन् गमिष्यन्तां कृपया दीनवत्सलाः ज्ञानं गुह्यतमं यत्तत् साक्षात् भगवतोदितम् अन्ववोचन् गमिष्यन्तां कृपया दीनवत्सलाः। सरजमाजी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ज्ञानं गुह्यतमं यत् साक्षात् भगवतोदितम् अन्यभोजन्यमिच्छन्द कृपया दीनवत्सला। हरे कृष्ण।
यस, जय श्रीमाजी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ज्ञानं गुह्यतमं यत् साक्षात् भगवतोदितम् अन्ववाचन् गमिष्यन्द कृपया दीनवत्सला। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा। वृंदमा जी।
Hare Krishna. Jnanam guhyatamam yattat sakshat bhagavatoditam anvavochan gamishyantaha kripaya dena vatsalah. May I read, ji?
Okay, please.
Jnanam, knowledge, guhyatamam, most confidential, yat, what is, tat, that, sakshat, directly, bhagavat, bhagavata, uditam, propounded by the Lord himself, anvavochan, gave instruction, gamishyantaha, while departing from, kripaya, by causeless mercy, dina vatsalaha, those who are very kind to the poor and meek. Translation: as they were leaving, those Bhakti Vedantas, who are very kind to poor hearted souls, instructed me in that most confidential subject which is instructed by the personality of Godhead Himself. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji Ki Jai. A pure Vedantist or a Bhakti Vedanta instructs followers exactly according to the instructions of the Lord Himself. The personality of Godhead, both in Bhagavad Gita and in all other scriptures, has definitely instructed men to follow the Lord only. The Lord is the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. The whole manifested creation is existing by His will, and by His will, when the whole show is finished, He will remain in His eternal abode with all His paraphernalia. Before the creation, He was there in the eternal abode, and after annihilation, He will continue to remain. He is not, therefore, one of the created beings. He is transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that long, long before the instruction was imparted to Arjuna, the same was instructed to the sun god, and in course of time, the same instruction, being wrongly handled and being broken, was again instructed to Arjuna because he was his perfect devotee and friend. Therefore, the instruction of the Lord can be understood by the devotees only and no one else. The personalist who has no idea of the transcendental form of the Lord cannot understand this most confidential message of the Lord. The expression most confidential is significant here because knowledge of devotional service is far, far above knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Jnanam means ordinary knowledge or any branch of knowledge. This knowledge develops up to the knowledge of impersonal Brahman. Above this, when it is partially mixed with devotion, such knowledge develops to knowledge of Paramatma or the all-pervading Godhead. This is more confidential, but when such knowledge is turned into pure devotional service and the confidential part of the transcendental knowledge is attained, it is called the most confidential knowledge. This most confidential knowledge was imparted by the Lord to Brahma, Arjuna, Uddhava, etc. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Text 31. येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायानुभावम् अविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम् येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायानुभावम् अविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम् येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायानुभावमविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम्। सरजमाजी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायानुभावमविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम्। हरे कृष्ण।
जय श्रीमाजी।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायानुभावमविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम्। हरे कृष्ण।
Vinidama ji.
Hare Krishna. येनैवाहं भगवतो वासुदेवस्य वेदसा मायनुभवम् अविदं येन गच्छन्ति तत्पदम्. Yena,
Yes.
by which, eva, certainly, aham, I, Bhagavataha, of the personality of Godhead, Vasudevasya, of Lord Krishna, Vedashaha, of the Supreme Creator, Maya, energy, Anubhavam, influence, Abhidam, easily understood, Yena, by which, Gachanti, they go, Tat Padam, at the lotus feet of the Lord. Translation: by that confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. By knowing that, one can return to him and personally meet him. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. By devotional service or by the most confidential knowledge, one can understand very easily how the different energies of the Lord are working. One part of the energy is manifesting the world, the material world. The other superior part of his energy is manifesting the spiritual world. And the via medium energy is manifesting the living entities who are serving either of the above mentioned energies. The living entities serving material energy are struggling hard for existence and happiness, which is presented to them as illusion. But those in the spiritual energy are placed under the direct service of the Lord in eternal life, complete knowledge, and perpetual bliss. The Lord desires, as He has directly said in Bhagavad Gita, that all conditioned souls rotting in the kingdom of material energy come back to Him by giving up all engagements in the material world. This is the most confidential part of knowledge, but this can be understood only by the pure devotees, and only such devotees enter the kingdom of God to see Him personally and serve Him personally. The concrete example is Narada himself, who attained this stage of eternal knowledge and eternal bliss. And the ways and means are open to all, provided one agrees to follow in the footsteps of Sri Narad Muni. According to Shruti, the Supreme Lord has unlimited energies without effort by him, and these are described under three principal headings as above mentioned. Hare Krishna.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chachurunmilidam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dadadi Swapadantigam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapatagamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsa Shri Rupam Sahajadam Sahaganagnadanvidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijanasaidam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Gilida Shvishakamidam Swam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimade Bhaktivedanta Swamin Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshadarine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Namine Shri Vashabhanavi Devi Daityaya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namah Madhuryo Jala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namaste Namaste Gauravani Shri Mutaye Dinadarine Yuvanuga Viridava Siddhanta Mandaharine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshal Vairagya Mutaye Vipralambar Sambodhe Padambuje Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Surubaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Virbhavumestam Deshta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Padma Shri Jagannadhaya Te Namaha
Vancha Kal-
Virupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta, Dasa Raghunatha, H.I. Goshai Kori Charan Bandhan, Jamodi Vignanash, Avishta Puran, Vancha Kalpadrubhesti Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo
वेभ्यो
Namaha.
नमो नमः
नमो महदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्षे नमः पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्ताकारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशिष्टिगम् हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगल्पदे
कल्पदे
गोपेशा गोपिका कान्दा
गोपिका
राधा
कान्ता
कान्दा
राधा
नमस्तुते जयतां सुहृदोपङ्गो मम मन्दमते गते मत्सवस्वाम्भोजो राधा मदनमोहनो दिव्यावृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमदां श्रीमद्रत्नाकरसिंहासनस्थो शीला गोविन्ददेवो प्रेष्ठाभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्दासरसारम्भ्यवंशी वडत्तलस्यां कर्षण्येन गोपी गोपीनाथश्रीकुणाम् तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधरा श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे तस्यैवं मे अनुरक्तस्य पशितस्य हृदयेन सा शतदानस्य बालस्य दान्दस्य अनुचरस्य च I was very much attached to those sages. I was gentle in behavior, and all my sins were eradicated in their service. In my heart, I had strong faith in them. I had subjugated the senses, and I was strictly following them with body and mind. So Srinarada Deva is describing his very fortunate meeting with the great Bhaktivedanta sages, Bhaktivedantis, and through them, because of association, Narada could reach the position which he is now. Because of their association, he developed the taste for Krishna, Ruchi, because all the time they were describing the Leelas, pastimes of Krishna, glories of Krishna, Krishna Tattva. It was explained very detailed by these sages, and Narada attended with, listened with rapt attention, and because he developed the taste for Krishna, his attention was unflinching. And as and when his taste and attachment grew, then he could understand that he had accepted that because of his karmas, past karmas, he had accepted the gross and subtle coverings. Otherwise, if we are not having these coverings, gross and subtle coverings, both the jiva as well as Krishna are transcendental. This realization Narada had because he was understanding Krishna. When you understood Krishna, then he understood himself. So normally this is the best way. Although Bhagavad Gita, it develops actually first Brahman realization and then Paramatma realization. First you realize yourself, the soul, that we are soul only. But better than that, because if you are concentrating on Brahman, the 12th chapter it says Klesha Adhira. It is very difficult because you are focusing on a very non-manifest entity, which is Akshara Brahman. Akshara Brahman is not manifest. So you have to focus on an unmanifest thing. And this process is very Avyakta Kshara Vasare. Avyakta, one who is worshipping Avyakta, his progress is bound to be very, very difficult. But if you are focused on Krishna and fully studying with attention, his pastimes, glories, everything, and when you want to understand Krishna, then you understand ourselves. We understand ourselves also and our relationship with Krishna. So Sri Narada was very fortunate and he could understand this. And the 2 months, the 2 seasons, or rather 4 months, the flag end of monsoon and the beginning of autumn. These are 4 months: July, August, September, July, August, September, October. These are 4 months of Chaturmasa. And continuous listening helped them to helped Narada to get out of the modes of passion and ignorance. This passion, ignorance is a covering of the soul. So he could completely eradicate this. And for this, he became very, very attached to the sages. Because we are always like that, because we are obliged to them, because this is lifetime obliged. It's a lifetime. We are accepting Guru as eternal, because he has only taken us out of this darkness of illusion, or Maya, or knowledge, ignorance, and took us back to Krishna. So we say, Janme Janme Prabhu Sai. When you see that's Guru Puja, we say, Chachudan Dilo Jai, Janme Janme Prabhu Sai. This relation eternal. And who can achieve the mercy of the spiritual master? Only one who is very, very meek, humble, and willing to serve. Bhagavad says very clearly, verse 34 of the 4th chapter, Tadvidi Pranipadena Paripashena Sevaya Vadeshandite Jnanam Jnanina Tattvadarshana. So we should always strive to serve a pure devotee of the Lord, always. We should have good relationship with others. Kanishtadhigaris, Madhyamadhigari, everything is there. But we should always focus our service and submissiveness, what should be only to the pure devotees, who is Uttamadhigari. So next of instruction, verse number 5, clearly brings out this idea, this how we should give the due respect to the Kanishtadhigari, Madhyamadhigari, but full surrender to the Uttamadhigari. Krishneri, who is a Kanishtadhigari? Krishneri Yasigiri Tam Manasadreda. One who is chanting the name of Krishna, we should be given all obeisances. Krishneri Yasya Giri. Giri means his words. Tam Manasa Driyeda. You should worship him mentally. Dikshasti Chet Pradabhischa Bhajandam Isham. The Madhyamadhigari is who is initiated and who is worshipping the deity. And to that Madhyamadhigaris, we should give our obeisances. To Kanishtadhigari, we should mentally honor, but not give obeisances. But for this Madhyamadhigari, who is taken Diksha and who is worshipping the deity, he should be given obeisances. But for Uttamadhigari, Shushusasya Bhajana Vijñam Ananya Nindadishunyam Hridayam Ipsida Sangalabdaya. Shushusasya Bhajana Vijñam. Bhajana Vijñam means one who is advanced in devotional service. Vijñam, means Vidwan. So Bhajana Vijñam means one who is advanced in devotional service. And what is his other qualification? Ananyam. Without deviation, he is worshipping Krishna. Ananyam. And then what? Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridayam. Shunya Hridam. He doesn't have any kind of envy for others. His heart is very clear. Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridam. So, he is Bhajanavijna, Ananya, and Anya Nindadi Shunya Hridayam. And to that devotee, we should always seek Ipsida Sangha Sabdhya. You should always try to associate with that pure devotee and Shushrusasya. We should worship him, serve him. So this is a way an aspirant, a spiritual aspirant, can progress. Because he has to worship the pure devotee, and Narada is a role model for us as far as how a disciple should worship his spiritual master.
Prabhuji, I have one question. How do
Yes.
we identify the adhikaris, the different type of adhikaris? Who is Uttam Adhikari, who is
Yes.
Kanishta Adhikari and Madhyam Adhikari? How do we identify?
By his behavior only, by his knowledge, by his dedication. That you can find out when you are closely observed. If you want to get initiated, normally what Maharaja says, you should clearly observe for at least 1 year the person from whom you desire to take initiation. So the Uttamadhikari is a person who now speaks anything other than Krishna. He speaks only about Krishna. And he doesn't have any material desires. That we can understand by association only, because some pretend, but you cannot pretend for long. You cannot cheat an intelligent person for long. If you can find out that a person is speaking only about Krishna and is very well versed in Shastra and dedicated to Krishna, then you can understand that he is a person coming from Parampara only. He's not adding anything on his own.
Okay.
So, Manduka Upanishad, it says, Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurum Eva Digachay Samitpanihi Shrotavyam Brahmanishtam. Samitmani means taking a bundle of 6 men in a very humble way. Very humble way. Shrotavyam. Shrotavyam means that Guru should be coming in the parampara only. Mean who has heard it from a realized spiritual master. One who has received knowledge from a realized spiritual master. He is coming from parampara. And Brahmanishtam is totally dedicated to Krishna. Such a person is accepted as Uttamadhikari.
Okay.
Madhyamadhikari, he'll be engaged in other activities also. Along with that, he'll be engaged in devotional service also. But he is not as realized and as dedicated as Uttamadhikari. And Kanishtadhikari is a person who just entered the spiritual. That he can easily make out who is a Kanishtadhikari. It's a bit difficult to find out who's actually the Uttamadhikari unless you clearly observing. So, association with aspiring, if you are aspiring from initiation from anybody, you should closely observing for at least 1 year. That is what our Shastra says. But nowadays it's not possible because the system is different now. Anyway, we are not going to that because we have already a lot of discussion has been there for already. And you should be knowing what is the position now.
Yes.
But the answer is that you should observe him, then find out whether he satisfies all these conditions, Shrotavyam Brahmanishtam. And the letter of instruction which you are given, Ananyam, Bhajana Vijnam, and Anya Nindadi Shunyam. These are the qualifications of Uttamadhikari. So, there's a book called Spiritual Master and the Disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Have you seen that book?
Yes, Prabhuji.
You have that copy?
I might be having, Prabhuji. I have a couple of books which I've purchased.
Not-
I'll have to check.
Okay, fine. If you find time, you can start reading that.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So you should be obedient to the this holy, pure devotee. And these are the signs of devotee who's determined to achieve success. Why you are why you following us very strictly? Because you are very serious. You want to be successful. And what is the success? The prayojana is Krishna Prema only. The goal in success is to achieve Krishna Prema. And that person will be successful when he strictly follows, very minutely follows the instructions of spiritual master. So in verse 30, says, Jnanam guhyadamam yattat sachal bhagadodidam anvavochan gamishanda krivaya dina valsalaha. As they were living, those Bhakti Vedantis who are very kind to poor-hearted souls instructed me in the most confidential subject, which is instructed by the personality of God himself. So Guhyatama, this word is used, Guhyatama. Guhyatama means most confidential. The Jnana Shastra is supposed to be a prevalence of monistic Jnana. If you are just focusing on Jnana Shastra only, it is a monastic theory only, without any touch of devotion. But Shastra Guhyam is a confidential scripture, consists of predominance of Jnana and mixture of some Bhakti. Predominant element is Jnana, some mixture of Bhakti is there. That is called Shastra Guhyam. Confidential is a confidential Shastra. More confidential is Guhyadaram, Shastra Guhyadaram, is that which predominantly, Bhakti is predominant with a mixture of Jnana. Bhakti is predominant with a mixture of Jnana. And the most confidential is pure devotion. Ananya, without mix of anything. So, Shastra Guhyam, Jnana Shastra is a prevalence of Jnana only, no Bhakti. If there is a little Bhakti and more Jnana, it is called Guhya or Guhyam. If the Bhakti is more predominant than Shastra, it's called Guhyadara. And pure devotion is called Guhyadama. So this Guhyatama, this most confidential knowledge is actually spoken by Lord himself. Only Lord can speak the most confidential knowledge, others cannot. So he has spoken to Uddhava and he has spoken to Bhagavad Gita in Arjuna. Uddhava and Brahma, the Chatushlokam in the second canto, 9th chapter, you'll find Chatushlokam. So Brahma wanted to create, so he went to Vaikuntha, and Vaikuntha he meets Vishnu. Then he seeks his blessings and he seeks instructions from Vishnu. And Vishnu gives him this knowledge. What knowledge is giving? 9.34 and 9.31 describes the preliminary knowledge given by Vishnu to Brahma. 2.9.31 Jnanam paramaguhyam me yad vijnana samannidam
tadangam cha
sarahasyam tadangam cha bhena gadidam maya. The personality of God said, yes, knowledge about me as described in scriptures is very confidential. Is very confidential. and it has to be realized in conjunction with devotion service. Necessary paraphernalia for the process is being explained by me. You may take it. So this is the most aspect is Shastras describe the confidential aspects of knowledge pertaining to Krishna. This is jnana, but it can to vijnana when it is laced with devotion service. So both knowledge and devotion are complementary. Both has to be together only. In, I think, Bhagavad Gita, third chapter, third verse, Krishna says, dry knowledge without devotion. I mean, knowledge without devotion is only very dry. And devotion without knowledge is pure sentimentalism. It's only sentimental. So Brahma was interested in many aspects. Some, it is given 4 types of knowledge he wanted. What are the forms of Lord, both in the matter and transcendence? How are the different energies of the Lord working? How does the Lord play with his different energies? And how Brahma may be instructed in the process of creation. So, in reply to that, this preliminary verse is spoken. And from 33 onwards, 33, 34, 35, and 36, Vishnu, Krishna rather, speaks the Chatushlokam. So here, Bhagavodgita means when it is spoken by Krishna only. Only when Krishna speaks only, you can get the most confidential knowledge. Otherwise, this mental speculation only. By mental speculation, you can reach up to the impersonal Brahman, but not beyond that. And the most confidential aspect, Bhagavan first explained to Brahma, and then Uddhava also, later in the 11th canto, and then Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. So basically our devotion services are strongly based on hearing and chanting. So Lord Chaitanya has given the 5 main principles for progress in devotion service. You may be knowing this, the 5 principles. After the 64 limbs, this is actually coming BRS, the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Rupa Goswami describes 64 limbs of Bhakti, all explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught Rupa Goswami about devotion, and Sanatana Goswami has given the etiquette. So 64 limbs are there. Out of that, 5 main first is association. First is association, satsanga. Second is chanting. Third is hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from a Uttamadhyari. Fourth is residing in the Dhama of Krishna. And fifth is worshiping the deity. These are the 5 limbs, principal limbs of devotion. So Narada says, Bhagadodidam Anmojodan Gamishyanti, by the causeless mercy, Kripaya, Dina Valsala. So this most confidential means pure devotion with this bereft of knowledge, jnana. That is called, most confidential. And this confidential knowledge was imparted by Lord to Arjuna also. As we have seen the 4th chapter, beginning of 4th chapter, we have seen this. How he has instructed Arjuna. And before that, he has instructed to Vivaswan. And since Arjuna was his dear friend as well as devotee, Arjuna was very qualified to receive this knowledge from Krishna directly. Same way, Uddhava was also very close to Krishna. In fact, many persons, I mean, they will look, even the looks were the same only, very similar. So Uddhava was almost all the time mistaken for Krishna, many instances. And he was very, very attached to Krishna. So this is required. You have to be totally submissive to Lord as well as a spiritual master. And then when you are then they are pleased with this, they will give you the knowledge. So Srila Prabhupada says, confidential knowledge in this chapter is also given. The confidential knowledge, Guhyam is realization of Brahman. That is Bhagavad Gita 18 chapter 51 to 54. Verses are there, 51, 52, 53, 54, three verses. That is pertaining to Brahman realization. Then 61, 62, more confidential Paramatma realization. And then 65 and 66, most confidential Bhagavan realization. So Krishna is giving the most confidential, step by step. He's first giving the confidential knowledge, then more confidential, and then most confidential. So after receiving this knowledge from the saints, Narada was very, very happy. Yenaivaham Bhagavado Vasudevasya Vedasa Mayanubhavam Adidam Yenagachanti Tatpadam. By the confidential knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of energy of Lord Krishna, the creator, maintainer, and annihilator of everything. By knowing that, one can return to him and personally meet him. So here, the energies of Krishna is explained. Energy of Krishna, as we know, Vishnu Purana is very clearly given what is the energy of Krishna. Sri Lord Chaitanya actually explains this verse to Prakashananda Saraswati in his explanation of Vedanta Sutra. He quotes two verses, one from Bhagavad Gita and from Vishnu Purana. Bhagavad Gita verse is this one only, fifth verse, the sixth verse of sixth verse of seventh chapter. Apareya Medastvanyam Pragatim Vidimeparam Jiva Buddho Mahabaho Ye Yedam Dharyate Jagat. So in that verse, he explains first the two energies of Krishna. These are inferior as well as superior. Inferior energy is Prakriti, which is basically classified as Bahiranga Shakti or the external energy. And the internal energy is accepted as internal potency, Ambaranga Shakti. So Jiva is a part of the internal structure. But the real position of Jiva is given as the Talasa Shakti only, which is given Vishnu Purana. Vishnu Purana says, Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta Kshetrajñakya Tadhapara Avidya Karma Sapnyaya Tridiya Shakti Rishyade. Vishnu Shakti Paraprokta. The internal potency of Supreme Lord Vishnu is spiritual, as verified by Prokta. Prokta means explained, as verified by the Shastras. So the Prabhala Shastras, they explain that the eternal potency of Krishna is the most supreme. Kshetrajñakya Tadhapara. Kshetrajñakya means a Jiva, one who knows the Kshetra, or Kshetrajña. Vishnu Purana is called Kshetrajñakya. In Bhagavad Gita is called Kshetrajña. One who knows Kshetra is a Kshetrajña. If you are not knowing that you about Kshetra, you cannot be Kshetrajña. You may be Saul, doesn't mean you are Kshetrajña. Kshetrajña means one who clearly knows what is Kshetra and what is internal potency. So Kshetrajna is also accepted as is a higher potency, higher energy. But what happens? Avidya karma sapnyaya tridiya shakti rishide. The third potency, which is known as nescience, making the living entities godless and fills him with fruitive activity. Tridiya shakti is avidya vijna sapnyaya. So this is Prakriti, comprising of 24 elements, which is described in the 13th chapter, verse number 6. Verse number 6 says, Bhabhudani ahangara buddhi avyaktamevacha indriyani dashegani panchadesha indriya gochara. So this is 24. Mahabhudani means the 5 gross elements. Ahangara, then buddhi, and then avyakta. Avyakta is accepted as the 3 gunas together. So totally that becomes 8. Then 11 indriyas, dashegani. 5 jnanendriya, 5 karmendriya, and mind. That's 11. 11 plus 8, 19. Then gochara. Gochara means sense objects, 5. So 24. These 24 elements comprising of the external potency of Krishna. So one who knows this clearly is a Kshetrajna. But the person who is not pure, who is conditioned, his influence is under influence of the Prakriti. In this next verse, in the 7th chapter, where the son of Drona is finished, in the beginning of this one, realization of Vedavyasa, after he is instructed by Narada to meditate on Supreme, Vyasadeva starts meditation. And in verse number 4 and 5 of this chapter, realization of Vyasadeva is explained, is given. Bhakti yogena manasi samyak pranihide amale abashyat purusham purnam mayam cha tat abhashayam. Bhakti yogena manasi, with the mind completely fixed. Samyak pranihide is completely fixed in Bhakti yoga. He could realize what apashyat purusham purnam. He could see the absolute personality Godhead, mayam chat tadabhashyam, along with his external energy, which was under his control. So he could see both Krishna as well as Maya, but Maya is very much under control of Krishna. And then the next verse says, Yaya samohido jiva atmanam trigunatmanam parobi manude anartham tatkridam chabivadyade. Yaya samohita jiva. Yaya means the external energy. The jiva is a person who is attracted or bewildered. Due to external energy, the living entity, although transcendental to 3 modes of material nature, in his original Swarupa, he is Srimad Bhagavatam also says Asangam Ayam Purusha. Asangam Ayam Purusha means Purusha is not connected to gunas actually. This you will also find in 30th shloka of 13th chapter also. Even though the living entities may be passing through ultimate unlimited number of births, even then, actually, the Swarupa wise, the Atma is always pure. So here it says, although it's transcended to material nature, because it's bewildered by this the glaring energy of this external energy, he thinks himself to be a material product and thus undergoes reactions of material miseries. He thinks that is a material product and act accordingly. So that is why here Srila Prabhupada says the jiva is under 2 influences. The conditioned soul is always under the material energy. The Nitya Siddhas or Nitya Muktas, they are directly under the spiritual potency of Krishna. Because this energy of Krishna is described in Shedashvara Upanishad. Very clearly says, Natasya karyam karam cha vidyade, natat chamas cha vishide, parasya shaktis vivideva shoyade, swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. Shweda Shudra Upanishad 6.8. Natasya karyam karam cha vidyade. Lord has got nothing to do, nothing is equal to him. Natat chamas. Samas means equal. Now, nobody is equal to him. Cha abhidas, no, above him also. Parasya Shakti Vivideyeshu Ede. His unlimited, variegated energies, potencies are there, which functions quite normally, I mean automatically. Because Krishna doesn't do any strain, make any effort to get his things done. His energies work for him automatically. Swabhavi Jnana Bala Kriyacha. So this is the energy of Krishna, which is, as I told you, we have explained in the Vishnu Purana, it's classified basically into three: internal potency, external potency, and Tadastha Shakti, marginal potency. So if you see Chaitanya Charitamrita, you can see first Krishna is there, and then the Chaturviham expansion is there, and from Chaturviham Sangarshana comes the Narayana forms in the Vaikuntha planets. And from Narayana forms comes a second Sangarshana. And the second Sangarshana, from second Sangarshana comes the three Vishnu forms: Karanadoshayi Vishnu, Garbhodoshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodoshayi Vishnu. The Karanadoshayi Vishnu is residing in the causal ocean, which is in the middle of, or can say, the banks of the spiritual as well as the material world. The Jivas actually is expanded from Karanadoshayi Vishnu. Now Krishna says, Mame Vamsha Jiva Loge. It is true also, but how actually this evolution, or you can say expansions, first Krishna, then Balrama, from Balrama Chaturviham, it is coming in that order only. But ultimately it's coming Krishna only. But actually the Vishnu, the Jivas actually emanating from, or manifested from Karanadoshayi Vishnu. And since Karanadoshayi is in this middle portion, the banks of spiritual and material world, the Jivas were attracted to the material things. They became conditioned. While more than 75%, they become Nitya Siddhas and they come out to Vaikuntha only. But few, little portion, a small percentage, they got entrapped in the material energy. And for their benefit only, the material world was created by Krishna. And Brahma is there to assist him. So, here it is said that he could understand, Narada could understand by his most confidential knowledge, the influence of the energy of Krishna. The influence of the energy of Krishna. So this is the most confidential knowledge. That is why you have to understand that we have a clear picture of the energy of Krishna. Shankaracharya did not have the understanding of energy of Krishna. He only had knowledge of Brahman. And according to him, Brahman cannot be transformed. And that's true also. Brahman is not transformed. Here we see that Krishna is there. Krishna is Achyuta. The part is, Amsha is Jiva only. Only Amsha has fallen, as we have seen this Bhagavatam verse. Realization of Vedavyas. The Amsha has fallen. Not Krishna. Krishna is always Achyuta. So in that aspect, Shankaracharya is right that Brahman cannot fall, cannot be transformed. But what he doesn't understand, that transformation has taken place not of Brahman, but Brahman Shaktis. So when you say Brahma Parinamam, it is actually transformation of Brahma's energy, Brahman's energy only. And so Jiva Goswami says that you have to be very thorough with the energies of Krishna. If you are not thorough with the energies of Krishna, you are bound to make a mistake, like Shankaracharya meant. Even Ramanacharya and Madhvacharya also, although they accept Vedavyas, because they accept Vedavyas contention that Brahma Parinama has done. But actually, Brahma Parinama is not actually Brahma Parinama, it's actually Shakti of Brahma Parinama. This was actually explained by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only. Ramanacharya and Madhvacharya could not explain it very clearly. That's why Shankaracharya always had an upper hand, because people generally they will accept that okay, Brahman cannot be transformed. Yes. So more people went with the argument of Shankaracharya, but when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, Chaitanya Prabhu explained very nicely that Krishna means not only Krishna and Krishna's energies, but Krishna is simultaneously one with his energy, and he is separate from his energy also. And from that, the real understanding, he propounded the theory of Achintya Bheda Bheda. So Achintya Bheda Bheda is actually Krishna in respect to his energies. So only when you have a clear understanding of Achintya Bheda Bheda, then only you can understand clearly the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita verses. Because almost all the verses can be really understood only when you apply this philosophy only, this Siddhanta only. So here it is, that is why the most confident knowledge, I could understand clearly the influence of the energy of Lord. Influence of the energy of Lord. When you are bewildered with the external energy, naturally become conditioned, like the jiva of just fallen. When you are directly worshipping Krishna, Bha Manasu Kaunteya Devim Prakriti Mashida. Verse number 13 of 9th chapter. Mahamanas Kaunteya, Mahamanas means noble hearted. The Mahamans, they are always dependent on the internal potency of Krishna. They will never step out of the internal energy. They will get always glued to Krishna's energy, internal potency. While those who are attracted by the external energy, they always make great struggle. Mana shashtani indriyani pragadistani karshati. Mame vamsho jiva loge jiva bhuta sanadana. Mana shashtani indriyani. Sometimes indriyanas are considered as accepted 11, sometimes as 6. When you say 6 means it is jnanendriya plus mind. When you say 11 means jnanendriya plus karmendriya plus mind. How you are struggling with, why you are struggling? Because actually jnanendriya gives you jnana. And when you are conditioned, it's very difficult to have proper understanding. That's why they're struggling. They are very struggling for existence here. But those who want the spiritual energy are placed under direct service of Krishna. And this is a chit potency. Chit potency is described as, in Vishnu Purana, is described as Samvit, Hladini Shakti. Second. Yes. Vishnu Purana 1.12.69. Hladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. Hladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. Sandhini is eternal, eternity. Samvit means knowledge. And Hladini means pleasure.
Can you repeat that, Prabhuji?
This Hladini,
Mm-hmm.
Sandhini, Samvit, Tui Ega Samvasamshaye. That is, Hladini Shakti is a pleasure potency of Krishna, which is represented as Radharani. Sandhini is a eternal portion, which is the the Vaikuntha planets. And Samvit is a knowledge potency, which is represented by Balrama. So this is the internal potency is divided into three. Actually, this is internal potency only. These are the parts which make up the internal potency, which is otherwise called Chit potency also. So that we have another other name of Satchitananda. Satchit Ananda. Sat is eternal, Chit is knowledge, and Ananda is bliss. So, in the living entities who are in the material world, they also have this Hladini, Sandhini, and Samvit, but mixed with gunas. Mixed with gunas. In CC Adi 4.63, there's a great description of what happens when these potencies are mixed with gunas, then how this Hladini potency acts on this the fallen souls, how the Samvit and Sandhini Shakti acts on the fallen souls is greatly described in 4.63, Adi 4.63. But in case of Krishna and his pure devotees, since they are not in touch with gunas, the Hladini and Sandhini Samvit acts in his full potency, pure. So Krishna and his pure devotees are not influenced of gunas. So they are always situated in the Chit potency comprising of Hladini, Sandhini, and Samvit. So this truth Narada could understand because of his association with these sages, been very merciful, and because of their mercy, Narada could understand the clear understanding of the Chit potency of Krishna. And so it was very fortunate to remain in the Chit potency. From that moment only, from itself, Narada became part of the internal potency of Krishna. Hare Krishna. Very much. Any clarification?
Prabhuji, I had one question on Ekadashi fasting. Actually, I had seen there is a difference in the dates of what we have in the Panchang and what ISKCON follows. Why is there a difference?
Here what happens when you look at the Panchanga, on Saturday, actually Ekadashi, major portion of Ekadashi was on Saturday. But a small portion of Dashami was also there. So when there's a small portion of Dashami, that day we are not taking as Ekadashi. In Ekadashi portion, small portion only comes, only from, we call it 60 Nadigas. No? This per day is considered 60 Nadiga. I think 48 hours or 52 hours for 58 Nadiga was on Saturday only. But since there was a small portion of Dashami was there, Saturday was not taken as Ekadashi, but Sunday was taken Ekadashi. But Sunday, Ekadashi, only small portion of Ekadashi was there. Major portion was Dwadashi. And then when it came to Monday, they took Monday as a Trayadashi. Actually, we were discussing morning. We had a discussion because I went to one. There is a Subodha ashram is there. One devotee had come down from Kodungalu. She was in Subodha ashram. It's near my place only. I picked her up from that ashram, and they were having Dhanvantari Puja yesterday. That's on Trayadashi. As per our calculation, today is Trayadashi. But for them, yesterday was Trayadashi. Because on Sunday, major portion was on Dwadashi only. As I told you, Ekadashi was predominantly in Saturday. Since there was a small portion of Dashami, Ekadashi was taken as on Sunday. But Dwadashi also on Ekadashi only. So Monday became Trayadashi for them.
Okay.
It depends on how you view it. It's all time-based only. And when you have a small portion of Dashami, normally it is not taken as Ekadashi.
Okay.
And that depends on various places also.
Okay.
And throughout sometimes, and you'll find that in Mayapur, Ekadashi is and when accepted on, or you're fasting on one particular day, maybe in Vrindavan, other places, maybe next day.
Mm-hmm.
Observation of Ekadashi sometimes varies, but not all the time. On certain occasion only it happens. Mostly it is uniform. But this is the reason.
Okay, Prabhuji, got it. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Vijesh Prabhu, anything you want to add?
Krishna Prabhu, nothing. Just one clarification, Prabhu. Like, from this Sandhini Shakti, because I read somewhere again in that Sikshamrita only, Sandhini Shakti actually is a spiritual body, right, Prabhu? We get the spiritual body from Sandhini Shakti. Right? Soul gets the spiritual body. Hladini is bliss, and so with Samvit, we get it is
Yes,
like the
what
soul's
means,
release,
because
right?
Sandhini means eternal.
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 Okay,
So,
so when we are
from
getting a
eternal potency
spiritual
only you
body,
can develop the body.
okay,
That
that
is the
means the
spiritual
spiritual
body.
body.
Spiritual
Ah,
body.
okay. But is it,
And,
Prabhu, that spiritual body?
you can see this one also. See, it is spiritual body as well as spiritual place also, the Vaikuntha. Isn't it?
Okay.
Same way, if you come to matter, the 24 elements comprising of your body, these 24 elements, universe also,
Ah, yes.
isn't it?
Understood. Like,
Like
what is
that,
it like?
in the
Micro,
spiritual world also.
macro gas, right, bro? Micro gas and micro and macro concept.
Yes.
Like
Macro,
the entire universe, the entire universe we can see in the. That's how we say it is in the
macro, and
body.
we are one small unit. Our body is one small unit.
One small unit. In the
Same
same
way,
way,
in
of the
Vaikuntha,
entire spiritual Vaikunthas, we have our
the
spiritual bodies
Vaikuntha
as
planets
part
of
of
Sandhini, coming out of Sandhini, as well as the body of the residents also Sandhini.
Sandhini. Okay.
Good question.
And Prabhu, like those who receive this Sandhini body, I mean, do they actually fall down from the
No,
Sandhini?
that
Get
is
spiritual body.
that is why actually there's a small confusion. Normally we can say when you are spiritually say when gunas are not there in Vaikuntha, how come the jivas fall? This is the biggest question always we are facing. No, gunas are not there in Vaikuntha. That is given the very first chapter verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. No, when gunas are not there, how come the jivas got trapped in guna? How the jivas fall down? That is always so. That is the answer is given because actually the jivas are not actually expanded from Krishna. It is expanded from Karanodashaya Vishnu only.
Okay. Okay.
So the Karanodashaya Vishnu is in the bank, isn't it? Of the spiritual world and the material world. So those who are Bahirmuga to Vaikuntha or the spiritual world, and they are Sammuga to material world, they get attracted by the gunas.
Okay.
That was my understanding. Because
but
this
they can
question always was how the fall down can happen. How the fall down can happen. If you are coming from spiritual world, when there is no gunas in spiritual world, how the jivas got trapped? How he got in contact gunas? So answer could be that reply could be actually we are not expanded in Vaikuntha itself. I mean we are not directly expanded from Krishna. We are direct from the Karanodashaya Vishnu only.
Is that because the same for Jaya Vijaya, Prabhuji? Did they
Yes.
fall because they were attracted to material world? Jaya Vijaya, the gatekeepers.
It is actually, if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, the real reason why Jaya and Vijaya fall because of the desire of Krishna only. Because Krishna wanted to fight, because everything Krishna is there, every tendency is there in Krishna. So Krishna also want to fight, and whom we can fight only with devotees only. So the Jaya Vijaya accepted this, and they became inimical. Slightly inimical, and how we developed because then they developed this animosity, and when these Kumaras came because of the animosity, they stopped the Kumaras from entering Vaikuntha, and they got cursed because it is, and it is very clearly. I'll find out the verse. I'll give you the verse. It's very clearly given because it is my desire only they acted like that. They are pure devotees. Jaya and Vijaya are pure devotees. They acted on the instruction because sometimes there is some fall down, maybe due to your this one. Some fall down maybe due to Krishna's interest also, desire also.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
That makes a sense when we think about the episode of Jayadratha and Bhishma. Right? Like even when Arjun was had vowed to to end up his life, Krishna didn't take any weapon in fact directly fight. He only took the Sudarshan Chakra and did that. He hid the sun.
Yes,
So he was playing trick only in a very cool way. But with Bhishma only, he at least he took the wheel because he was in Virya Rasa. Bhishma was a great devotee.
yes.
It's perfect sense, bro.
Chivalrous.
Each day new realizations.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Nandagadi Vakshabhija.